It's Pooja Mehta, reporting for Beat TV and the New York Stock Exchange from the Cannes Lion Festival of Creativity. I am so happy to be joined today by Jeff Greenspoon, CEO of Kantar Americas. Thank you for making time at the festival to be with us.
Always a pleasure.
So tell me, there is a lot of conversation at the festival about how in this very fragmented media world, in this very fragmented consumer journey world, marketers can rethink measurement. What's your take on that?
Yeah, measurement's an interesting thing because oftentimes it happens afterward, but the best measurement actually dictates strategy. Now, one of the things that I've noticed a lot being in Kantar for only 1 year now, but spending many years in advertising agencies and working with marketers, is that the silos exist more than ever, especially in measurement. And so while the landscape is fragmented, measurement has also fragmented. You're measuring your brand over here and your creativity over here, your media impact over here, your experiences over here. The best CMOs, the best marketers are looking at the signals that go across all of those different channels, going across all the different types of measurement that they do, and then starting to find both the correlations and the causations of the data so that they can make more informed decisions. And obviously when you have stronger decision making, you can really think about future strategies. So we have to break down the silos, start connecting the data, because everyone has data. So it's what do you do with it and how do you build decisions and strategies on top of that?
I love that idea of breaking down the silos. Can you talk a little bit about what's distinctive in the way that Kantar helps brands and marketers connect business performance and outcomes with media performance and with brand performance?
Sure. So we have a framework called the MDS framework. It's the Meaningful, Different, and Salient framework, and it permeates everything that we do, from how we understand creative effectiveness into media effectiveness into ultimately, did a brand take an action that drove brand value, and does that brand value equate to enterprise value or stock price performance? So let's go right back to the beginning, right? Are you a meaningfully different brand? Do you show up in a customer's life where you have meaning, where you solve problems for them, where you're emotionally resonant to them? Yes or no? And media will react differently than creative will react to what you put in the market, right? Then secondly, are you different? Are you innovating? Are you trend setting? Are you offering a product or a service to that consumer that no one else does as well as you? And difference really drives the ability to gain price performance and price share, earn more margin on your product, but ultimately show up in a consumer's life with difference and distinctiveness. Then the S is saliency. Does a customer think of you first and foremost when they're going to make a purchase decision? And so how we help brands optimize the creative that they put out into the market, the media decisions that they make, the experiences that they provide to their clients, ultimately try to draw the line between an action that a brand takes to the brand value they create to does their stock price or their enterprise value increase. And over 21 years, we've seen that the brands that are meaningfully different to more people wildly outperform the average stock price performance. In our most recent Brand Z, yeah, exactly, brand matters. In the most recent Brand Z report that we put out just a couple months ago, we saw that over the last 21 years, the index of the top 100 brands of value every year grew about 504% versus the average stock index grew only about 234%. So investing into being meaningfully different to more people will help contribute to the enterprise growth of your company.
So it's that distinctiveness that's separating brands that are growing share now from those that are sort of stagnating or even falling back.
Well, that's exactly right. There's a lot of brands that have almost over-rotated and spent too much on, say, performance marketing or the lower funnel marketing, as we call it, and they've forgotten or have been unable to invest into future demand. And we know that a brand's future power, how likely someone is to buy them in the future, is the greatest predictor as to whether they will grow their brand value into the future, obviously. And so if we can start investing for the future while also starting to harvest the demand that we've built up over the last number of years, you can have the best of both worlds. Ultimately, it comes together in salience. Does a consumer recognize and want you versus your competition in a moment of consideration or decision making? If you don't invest into the salience, you're not going to have that predisposition later on.
Absolutely. Like, this is how brands grow in the future, that investment. So we've almost had a bit of an overcorrection, would you say, in terms of we maybe went too far into performance and there is now a resurgence and there is growing success for the brands that are continuing to invest in the long term.
That's right. There's a fine balance of understanding how do you build future demand while also capturing demand today. And it's a false trade-off. You can't pick one or the other. The brands that are growing today are leaning into long-term equity building while also building for short-term performance, and you can do both because it's actually cheaper to get real performance results today if you've invested in the past to deliver those results. And so they work together in a harmonious world. The problem is brand measurement has always been complicated. How do you measure the upper part of the funnel as discreetly and distinctly as you can a cost per click or a cost per purchase in lower funnel or performance media? And so what we're trying to do is connect those two, show the correlation between the brand equity you built in your meaning or your difference or your salience, all the way down to what does that deliver for you when you got to get to those brass tacks, make sales today.
So I love where this is going. Let me ask you the big question. If you're advising a CMO where they're going to spend that next dollar today, is it better data, better media, better creative?
It's better creative, because if creative actually permeates everything that you do. I think everyone has a lot of data, they're trying to figure out what to do with it, and come back to that, but up to 50% of the effectiveness of your marketing and your media comes from the content that you show to your customers. So understanding, A, who you want to talk to, but then what do you want to say to them? And how do you want to get across your meaning, your difference, why you're better than your competitors, why your pricing is superior? That all comes through the creativity. And if you can use the data to optimize what creative you put in the market, and then use the data to ultimately drive a more effective media plan, it will come down to, did the message resonate? And so if I had $1 extra, I'd be putting it into creativity 10 out of 10 times.
Did the ad work really does, at the end of the day, rely so much on that creative?
Exactly right. And brands have the ability to test and learn what's going to work better with different types of audiences and different types of segments against different problems in their lives, but you need the right content to go in front of the right consumer to positively predispose them and then get them to buy at the end of the day.
Fantastic, Jeff. Thank you so much for joining us. I so appreciate you being here.
Thanks for
and making
having me.
time for us at Cannes.
Of course.